We've all been there. You practice your combo in training mode, you've got the muscle memory down, and you know you can do it. Then you hop into a real match. Find the opening, you get the hit, your brain screams now, and your fingers just stop working. But why do we drop the combos we learned when it actually matters? The first reason is something sports psychologists call explicit monitoring theory. When you first learn a combo, you use something called declarative memory. You think about the combo in parts. With enough practice, that skill moves into your procedural memory, often called muscle memory. Now this is automatic and fluid, since you don't have to think about it. Now when you're practicing in training mode, you're trying to let your muscle memory run the show. But here's the big problem. When you feel pressure, the thinking part of your brain gets scared. When this happens, it tries to take back control. And instead of letting the automatic muscle memory run, you start consciously monitoring your fingers. You aren't dropping the combo because you didn't practice enough or because you forgot it. You're dropping it because you're trying too hard to ensure you hit it. You're literally thinking yourself into a mistake here. The second reason why you drop combos is what the fighting game community calls the mental stack. In training mode, the dummy isn't moving, it's not doing anything, it's not hitting you. All your power is dedicated to the timing of the combo you're practicing. But in a real match, you've got so much more to think about. You're tracking the opponent's drive gauge, you're watching for things like drive impacts, jumps, anti-airs, maintaining spacing, footsies, whiff punishes, all these different things. Now by the time you land a hit, your brain's already at 99% capacity. When your brain tries to run the combo script on top of all of that, your system crashes. Now you didn't fail because you're bad, you failed because your brain ran out of memory. And that leads us to our next point, wanting to win. Now you might think that wanting it more makes you play better. But a 2024 study from Carnegie Mellon at the University of Pittsburgh suggests the opposite. Now they found that when we see a huge potential reward, our neural activity actually collapses. When your brain sees the ranked up victory screen in its mind, it gets a massive dopamine spike, and that spike actually scrambles the motor signals before they reach your hands, costing you matches that you feel like you should have won easily. And finally, there's ecological validity. What this means is basically that your brain learns things in specific contexts. If you only practice combos against a dummy that's standing still, your brain learns the combo as a response to a static image. But in a match, you're not hitting this against a standing opponent. To your brain, these are completely different environments. So, how do we fix this problem? Okay, so the first step I'm going to give you when you're practicing your combos to stop dropping them in actual matches is to not practice against a static opponent. And that means practicing your hit confirms. Now, how do you do that? Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to go here. Doesn't matter who you're fighting, I have it set to Ken. And make sure the block isn't on block all or block after first hit. Make sure it's set to random block. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a little recording feature that I really like to use to make sure that it's like true random blocking. You're going to go to the record settings here. Make sure the recording trigger is on input, and then you're going to go to slot 3. Now, the recording is prime, but it's not recording yet. It's only going to start recording once you actually push a button. So you're going to take your right hand, you're going to put it over the start button of your controller so you can pause right away, and then your left hand is going to be on the actual directions of your controller. And you're going to block with down back as Ken for like a second or two. Then as you're holding down back to block, you push start, and that ends the recording. Then you go here to reversal settings under block reversal and make sure you set that recording slot, which was slot 3, to block, and make sure the count says 1 and delay settings are on 0. Now, if you do your hit confirming, we're going to do 2 jabs into a standing leg kick. Now you're actually reacting to a hit versus a block. And if it's blocks, you're going to stop at 2 jabs, and if it hits, you're going to finish with standing leg kick into a Shoryuken here with Akuma, and this is going to change depending on the character you play, but this is just a quick example. This is actually hit confirming. This will help you get your combos down properly in matches. The next thing you want to do, and this is more for beginner, like lower intermediate players, is you want to make sure if you're doing 2 jabs into standing leg kick, that's 3 attacks, you're only pushing the attack buttons 3 times. You don't want to be like mashing on light punch here where I have, see here on my inputs, I have like a bunch of lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm not doing 4 lights. I'm only doing 2 into a standing leg kick. So if you're the kind of person who's kind of like mashing out your combos, you got to get that out of there and you got to stop. 2 jabs means 2 button pushes. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're only pushing as many attack buttons as you're actually using in your combo. There's no need for mashing. It's only going to ruin your consistency. The next tip I'm going to give you is to make it feel more like a real match. We were talking about how fighting against a static opponent is really bad. So let's say I'm trying to learn this combo right here. So we're going to go like this with Akuma, which is like a really, really common punish counter combo mid-screen with Akuma. Now, you could practice this all day, but when you're in a real match, you might not be able to actually hit confirm this punish counter and get the right combo, because this actually doesn't work if it's not a punish counter. The opponent will block this, it doesn't combo. So what you want to do is you want to kind of recreate this setting in a real match. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to try to make some recordings with the opponent to replicate what it feels like in a real match. So in slot 1, you're going to go here. You're just going to record Ken walking back a little bit. Then slot 2, you're going to record Ken walking forward a little bit. And then you're going to make one more recording here, slot 4, where he holds down back. And then slot 5, you're going to do crouching medium kick. Then you're going to space yourself out a little bit. You're going to go to replay. You're going to turn off slot 3 because that was our recording from the last one. So slot 1, 2, 4, and 5 are now on. And then if you hit play, Ken's going to move like a real kind of person playing footsie. He's trying to hit you with that crouching medium kick. Now all you got to do is actually react to the crouching medium kick. There, so you react to the crouching medium kick, and that feels a lot more like a real match. Now, if this is too difficult for you and you're not really that good at footsies yet and you're kind of like a newer player, you can make this whole thing even easier. You're going to turn these off. We're going to go slot 1, neutral jump into hold down back, neutral jump into crouching medium kick. And then this time, all you're going to do is you're going to stay here at a range where the crouching medium kick won't hit you, and you're going to stay here, and you're only going to push your crouching medium kick to punish if you see the Ken dummy with that move. So now you're practicing this in context and it feels a lot more like a real match. So this is going to be much more helpful than just practicing the combo mid-screen against a dummy that gets hit every time. The next thing you want to do is practice your combos off of knockdowns, because a really common way to pressure your opponent is after you knock them down and you do like either lights or medium attacks to pressure them. So what you can do is you're going to just do a quick sweep. Easy knockdown. This works for every character, even if you don't have like a throw loop or something. This is just a really easy way to do it. Go to save status and save it here. Alright, so now every time you knock the opponent down, you'll be in the same spot and you don't have to waste time doing sweep every single time. Then what you're going to do, you're going to go here, you're going to turn off this replay, you're going to go reversal settings, and you're going to go to wake up reversal. In slot 1, you're going to go to the left here to common options and say do nothing. And then on slot 2, you're going to do a crouching light punch from your opponents. They're going to wake up either by doing nothing or the light punch. Then you want to make sure the block is set to block after first hit. This means if the opponent does nothing, they'll block your attack. So what you're going to do, you're going to load this up, and you're going to try to time this attack. If the first 2 get blocked, you're just going to stop your pressure. And then if it hits, you're going to finish your combo. And this really replicates what it feels like to pressure somebody in a real match. And now you're not just doing like mindless, combo practice in the corner that doesn't really help you in a real match. Now it's going to feel exactly like it feels when you're actually pressuring somebody in a real match. And this is like the most important thing you can do. It also works on your meaty timing, which is like another really good thing about this. And it helps you just get your hit confirms and like your pressure, and it just makes everything really good. So if you haven't spent time doing this, definitely practice this because it'll really, really help you. All right, my next tip for replicating combo practice and making it feel like a real match is actually to just practice against a CPU. It doesn't have to be like level 7 or level 8 because there's actually like reading your inputs and it gets a little bit tricky, but like level 6, level 5, level 4. So doing this kind of practice will make it feel a lot more like a real match, and you'll be able to actually practice combos against a moving, like living opponent and not just against a static dummy. And now you're actually practicing your combos in context, and this helps so much when you're kind of newer to fighting games, or if you're not used to playing online in ranked matches against moving people. This is a great way to practice your combos. And just worry about punishing your opponent, landing the combo that you're working on, and this can really help you. If you don't like fighting against the CPU, there is one more option you have available in Street Fighter 6, but this doesn't exist in every single game for those of you who aren't Street Fighter 6 players. So V-Rival with SimSim here in the Battle Hub of Street Fighter 6 is actually a pretty decent way for you to fight like an AI CPU opponent, which kind of replicates how actual people play. I haven't used this very much, so I'm rated as rookie right now, and you're fighting against a random master V-Rival, but this can be good if you're newer to fighting games. If you're more experienced, someone who like goes to tournaments, this probably won't help you too much, but if you're new and you're just kind of like picking up the game for the first time, or you are just really struggling with combos and you're always dropping them, this can be a great way to practice your actual combos versus a smarter CPU opponent. The next tip I have for you for not dropping combos is to make sure you know what combo you're going to go into before you even do it. There are some situations you have to choose your combos on the fly, but for the most part in these games, unless you're playing a super high level, it's pretty easy to choose what combo you want to go into based on the health bar and the super meter situations in a match. So let's imagine this is the last round of a game I'm fighting against Ken, and Ken has 50% health right here at the top right of the screen. and I have full drive meter and 3 bars of gauge. Now, I know that this combo right here is going to do about like 59, 60%. I think it's 6,300. So this is a guaranteed KO here if I'm able to land this combo, which means I don't need to do any thinking once I land this hit. So I know I'm just going to root into this combo no matter what, because it's always going to give me the win if I have the bar for this once my opponent is at like 50, 55% health. So here there's no decision making involved with me choosing the combo. I already know what I'm going to go into before I even do it. And make sure you also know what to do if you land light. So for example, let's say I'm fighting a Ken and I get something like this. I can't get the KO, there's not enough damage here, but I know this is my max damage combo from mid-screen off of this confirm. So it just makes the whole decision-making process easier, and this way you're not thinking, oh, what combo do I have to do like in the middle of a combo, and then your brain gets all scrambled and your hands don't do the right thing, and then you end up dropping a combo because you're adding more mental stack and more decisions that don't need to be made in that situation. So just make sure you know how much damage your combos do, which combos you can do to get a guaranteed KO in certain situations off of your main starters, and then when you're in a match, look at their health bar, say, okay, I think he's basically at X% health, and then choose the combo that you know is going to get you the win. And the last tip I have for you for getting your combos more consistent in matches is to make sure you're practicing them in context. So that means, so what do I mean by that? So if I get this with Sagat, I can actually link into back heavy punch, into heavy knee, into light DP for really good corner carry and really great damage. The problem is, if you're just practicing this in training mode, it's really easy because you know you're going to get that counter hit. So you're not reacting in this situation. You're kind of mindlessly practicing a combo. Now, of course, you have to learn how to do the combo first, but then once you're able to get this many times in a row, you have to practice it in context. So how do we do this? Well, you can use training mode and all these different settings. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to standard, you're going to go block all, and again, I'm explaining this with Sagat, but it's not just a Sagat thing. Set your opponent to do a fast 4-frame move, or the fastest move in the game that you play. So you're going to drive rush into this to get enough frame advantage to get the guaranteed counter hit. So here we go, I get it, I can do the combo, great. But again, in this situation, the Ken is always going to jab, so there's not much reaction needed from me. So what you do here, you add a do nothing option. So now, sometimes Ken is going to jab, sometimes he's not. There, he didn't jab, so I'm not mashing on it anymore. There, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to push back hard punch. There's the counter hit, I react to that symbol on the left side, and now I go for the back heavy punch into my full combo. This is good practice rather than just doing it against a dummy who will always get countered, because now you're actually reacting, and this is exactly what will happen to you when you're playing against a real person in a match, whether online or offline. So now you're just not practicing a combo over and over again. You're practicing it in context, and a context that is very, very likely to happen in a match, because like if you're playing Sagat, this is going to happen, right? You're going to get this at least once. So thinking of your character when you're playing, when you're practicing, and thinking, in what situation do I want to go for this combo, or in what situation am I going to get a hit, and then trying to recreate that situation in training mode, and then add variations where you have to actually react to what's happening on the screen rather than just mindlessly going into your combo and autopiloting it, is one of the best ways to actually help you transfer your training mode practice into a real match. All right, guys, that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel and lets me make more videos like this in the future. But anyways, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.